My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC 263, we have a 5-round non-title fight, 5-round non-main event, the only time in UFC history that they put a 5-round fight in the middle of a fight card. We have Leon Edwards versus the return of Nate Diaz. Leon Edwards is 4-1 in his last 5. I keep saying one. I keep giving that a loss. It's a no contest. It's not a loss. It was the eye poke against Bilal Muhammad. We just broke down the Bilal Muhammad fight. And what's funny about that is one of them had a horrific eye injury. The other one was completely unscathed, and they're on the same card. Again, that goes into what do you think about the eye of Bilal Muhammad? Same exact recovery time and training camp time for both these guys, and one was on the wrong end of an eye injury. Anyway, we already broke that fight down. Leon Edwards, 4-0-1 in his last 5. Nate Diaz, 3-2 in his last 5. Nate Diaz, a giant underdog. Leon Edwards, a giant favorite. I think this is pretty spot on across the board. I love Nate Diaz. Everybody loves Nate Diaz, but I just don't see the pitter-patter striking, which is, what he does. I don't see that being a problem for Leon, and I don't see him submitting Leon. Obviously, Nate Diaz has phenomenal submissions, terrible wrestling, and very good high-volume hands, and that's represented in this strike line. So I think everything here is correct. I think the strike lines are correct. I think the betting odds are correct. I think the DraftKings prices are correct. It is all correct. I have Leon Edwards in my DraftKings lineup. I think he's worth the money. I love Nate Diaz, but I don't think Nate Diaz has it anymore. And certainly, in my opinion, if I'm the matchmaker, if I'm Mick Maynard, I'm using Nate Diaz for the fun, big fights. I am not putting Nate Diaz up against Leon Edwards, who should be fighting for a title.
It's almost like they want to put him in his place because they're always arguing. It's like, oh man, really? This is the fight he's got to come back to. Because I'm the same as you. I'm so pumped he's back. It was a long layoff, and I'm a huge fan of his. I love watching him fight. I just wish he had a different opponent because I agree. I think this is going to be a very tough fight for him. But, Diaz is just, like he says, a guy is a straight gangsta. He's always in shape. Good, very good boxing. I wouldn't, I know you say pitter-patter. It looks like that a little bit, and it is, but it is volume punching at its finest. You know what I mean? And he's got good boxing behind it. Like, he's in some legit boxing gyms training all the time. So he also can make it scrappy if he needs to. But he's always susceptible to leg kicks. There's holes in his wrestling. I think, his, guard jiu-jitsu is not really a factor anymore these days, So I just think it's going to be a tough matchup for him. Unless for some reason later on in the fight, his cardio is that much better than Leon Edwards. I don't think it will be. They both have had long layoffs, but Leon Edwards has gone 5 before with Rafael Dos Anjos. It wasn't a problem. He won that fight. So I think this is just a tough matchup for Nate Diaz across the board. Leon Edwards, this guy, let's face it, this guy has probably been the true number 1 contender for a while now. I think he's probably better than Nate anywhere, really. Boxing, I would say, would be the closest kind of skill set between the two. I think everywhere else, Leon kind of dominates. Wrestling, clinch, athleticism, conditioning could be an edge for Diaz, but with the long layoffs, who knows? Even his last fight, he didn't look quite as,
peppy,
like he was ready to turn it on in those later rounds. I know he said he was gonna, but he was getting worked by Masvidal. So I don't know. I think Leon Edwards is going to beat him up. Diaz is tough enough to where it could go 5, but I think it's going to be somewhat of a massacre. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Edwards is going to slice him up in the clinch and just and put a beating on him. And it's probably the fight that he needed to be able to then make a title shot call out. And if he wins, they should give it to him at this point. So
Yeah.
um, I'm taking Edwards in DraftKings. I agree. I think he's worth the 9,500. And strikes, I'll go. Geez, Louise, I'll go with
It's very high. I still going more and more, man.
more, huh?
I mean, Nate
I'm
Diaz,
going more or
even when he
less.
loses, his hands just don't stop moving. And he's not going to get stopped. I mean, he's tough as he's not going to get stopped.
Yeah.
It's 5 rounds.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. I'm going to go more or less. I think Edwards will get it. I'm just
I
thinking
don't
maybe
know.
Diaz may spend some time on his back at points.
He might, but even there, his hands don't stop moving.
Yeah,
he literally goes boom, boom, boom.
They count
the camera.
slaps.
Yeah, it's a strike. Any strike.
Stockton slaps count. Then I'm then more and more.
Yeah, I'm very confident that more and more actually. And I'm looking at my bet online. I did bet on this fight. I did the over on rounds, over 4.5 rounds. I think it's plus 110. So basically, I'm betting that it goes to decision. But what's funny is the odds that it'll go to decision was very heavy minus money. The over on rounds is plus money. It's so funny how that works.
Well, dude, those are mistakes that happen. So if you can spot those, like
yeah.
I would, anybody who's out there and likes that and agrees with that, jump on it, because they've done things like that before where they've got plus 3.5 for the favorite, and you jump on it in time.
Yeah.
They may not catch it for a day or so.
And I wouldn't even say this is a mistake, like a typo. I think it's almost like two different people set the lines. And one of them is like, okay, yeah, over, there may be a stoppage. Let's do a little bit of plus money. And then another person is like, to go to decision, 100%, minus 400. So either way, that's the bet I made. And we're doing our full betting guide, so check that out. Neither one of us will both be rooting for Nate. I think best case scenario for me, because I'm doing monkey knife fights and the bet is Nate Diaz wins because I like him. They both throw a million punches and it goes to a decision. Then I win all my money and I get to watch Nate win. It's better for the decision if Leon wins. We need some fresh blood. Even though he's already fought Usman, but we need some fresh blood.
Dude, by the way, if Nate wins, can you imagine the call outs and the fights they can make there?
Hey, honestly, if Nate wins, he'll never fight again because he's going to want $100 million. They won't give it to him and he'll retire. That's what's going to happen.
If he wins, they might have to give it to him.
So either way, that's our breakdown of this fight. Let us know in the comments what your heart is saying and what your head is saying. I'm very curious how many of you are with us saying, I want Nate to win, but he's not going to win.